That's funny. Yeah, that's funny.
President voting.
Good morning, Senator Liu. You have SB 1384 up this morning.
Correct.
Go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Chair, members. By 2030, people over 65, anybody in the room, will comprise 20% of the California's population, and 70% of those are likely to require some form of long-term care services. But research shows 67% of seniors underestimate their future needs. Some believe Medicare will cover the in-home care services they might need. It will not. Long-term care insurance, LTCI, is one way people can protect their assets from being exhausted by long-term care expenses. But with increases in longevity, LTCI premiums have become unaffordable for most middle-income consumers. The Long-Term Care Partnership Program is a joint federal-state initiative intended to expand middle-class consumers' access to private long-term care insurance. Purchasing a partnership-qualified long-term care insurance provides dollar-for-dollar asset disregard or spend-down protection for eligibility and estate recovery purposes. California created the Long-Term Care Partnership in accordance with federal law to help fill the LTCI gap. But by all accounts, this program is failing. Partnership standards are outdated, and policies have become too expensive for the consumers they were targeted to assist. Sales of regular individual LTCI and partnership policies have declined nationally, but California has been hardest hit. In 2004, consumers purchased over 8,400 policies. Partnership policies in 2014, that number dropped to just over 600. SB 1384 addresses major concerns with the California partnership that I hear repeatedly from LTC stakeholders and insurance policy providers. The policy design requirements are not flexible enough to meet consumer needs, and these requirements make the policies too expensive. As amended, SB 1384 does three things. It provides for lower-cost LTCI options to be developed and the consumer to be informed of various policy options and their comparable benefits and costs. 2, it enables the development of policies that cover in-home care only. And 3, provides that electronic and other devices for monitoring health and safety of the insured be covered by in-home care only policies. This is particularly important for insureds suffering from severe cognitive impairments. Member SB 1384 has been a work in progress, engaging insurers, agents, consumers, advocates, and the state departments affected. But we know long-term care insurance alone cannot solve the challenges our aging residents face. SB 1384 continues the discussion by reestablishing an executive and legislative task force to advise on implementing partnership reform and to explore other means of assisting consumers to pay for long-term care services. And I ask for your support on the bill.
Thank you, Senator Liu. These are your two witnesses, I assume, in support.
Yes.
Who would like to go first?
Madam Chair and members, Ted Angelo with the Association of California Life and Health Insurance Companies. I just want to convey my thanks to Senator Liu for bringing this forward. It's a complex issue. I would say, given the degree of testimony we had on the bill preceding this, you're talking about public safety individuals who were hurt in the line of duty that were not getting the full protection they need when they're injured. This is something that affects all of us. The aging population, we don't have folks that have farms with 9 children on them anymore to take care of the older adult. This is a problem that we have in the state of California with an aging population where we just don't have the means as middle-class folks to take care of them. This will study that provision because the partnership policies have a spend-down protection in them, which were intended to benefit middle-income folks. They're not doing that. The analysis is very clear, shows the history of this, the other states where it's more affordable and it's working better. but it's still struggling. The product's struggling. CalPERS product struggled. They stopped selling it. They were raked over the coals in a hearing because they stopped selling it and they were raising premiums on folks where they said they weren't going to. I'm really not trying to make a political statement here other than the fact that this is a very serious issue and we want to be part of trying to find the solution, whether it's a limited benefit for the aging population that they know when they purchase it rather than a guaranteed lifetime product that it was originally designed to be. That's what part of the study in this bill is going to provide. So we're here to support the effort, and we'll work with the agency that puts the study together, and glad to be here today to support the bill.
I'm Steph.
Okay, any other members of the public wishing to come forward and speak in support of this bill? Is there any opposition to this bill? Going once, going twice. Motion and a second. Members, is there any discussion? Mr. Daly?
Thank you. I saw this bill yesterday in aging, and I'm going to support the bill today. I supported it yesterday. I'm interested in what the study comes out with. I think that's really the proof in the pudding is that we find out, is there an option? I mean,
Right.
We have Social Security, which you have to have people pay in, or it doesn't work, and this is no different than that. So hopefully there's something that comes out of this study that maybe we can use as a tool to figure out how we fund long-term care in the future. So I will support it for that reason. I hope you come up with something. I haven't, in my mind, figured out what that is. And Social Security is in the same boat. You have to have people paying in, or there's no benefit at the end, and that's how it would have to work. So hopefully it comes out.
Can I say
Thank
one
you.
more thing on that? No, I just wanted to say that I appreciate that point. In the Deficit Reduction Act, which I didn't speak to, provides the lower cost inflation option, so it will become more affordable just on that alone, as well as the other forms of products that they study to try to develop. So,
Thanks. As a investment advisor and health insurance agent, actually, for about 20 years now, can you just very quickly lay out what a current partnership policy would look like, and then what a potential partnership policy would look like were the task force to come back with recommendations that we're looking for or that you're looking for, and actually be able to implement those in the market?
Okay. Do you want to handle that? Or, in California, we don't have a successful partnership program currently because we don't have insurance and people. We only have 3, but they're not really 3 anymore. He talked about the PERS people, and the PERS program only allows people who put into PERS to participate. And one other company no longer has suffers from a series of credit issues, and so they discourage brokers from recommending that policy. And then, so we really don't have options in the California partnership, and so we're trying to discover what would work, and that's the point of the bill.
Okay, that's not exactly what I'm looking for.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
explain. So, just for our benefit here, obviously we've been using these policies for quite some time. Maybe if the only viable program you'd like to talk about right now is the CalPERS Long-Term Care Partnership Program, let's go ahead and talk about the benefits available there, and then what the task force might be driving at, and what a potential future policy might look like.
to that in the analysis.
Item 3 in your analysis speaks to pricing. It partly responds right now that it's a 5%. It's a 5% inflation factor, and so we're talking about perhaps a 3%. So something that would lower the price of the premium. So we don't know what that price point is because we would allow the experts here, to try to determine what would be feasible for a policy.
Okay, so and I understand about getting the options on the inflation rider. I think it makes a lot of sense. I mean, especially in our current interest rate environment, to have a 5% mandatory, inflation rider. It's a little bit steep today. I did see some other benefits available in terms of nursing home only. I think
In home care services,
correct, or comprehensive.
Right.
Can you speak about what's currently available in the marketplace in the partnership? Let's just take a look at the CalPERS program, if that's the only viable program we want to talk about, versus what these new policies would be.
I really can't speak to. All I know is it's comprehensive in terms of what the partnership requires, and they've had regulatory authority to adjust that for I want to say 6, 7, maybe even longer period of time to make it more affordable, but those haven't happened. And we've had a precipitous drop, and the analysis speaks to that as well, in the number of carriers offering partnership policies just because they can't afford to issue them under those older standards, which require too high of a premium for anybody to want to buy it. So it's a bad situation, and this is a step in the right direction.
Okay, so I think we're kind of all driving to it. Let me just go ahead and clarify. As an agent myself, what the bill is looking to do, as I read it, and according to your testimony, is right now the partnership program. There's actually only one way to really get viable partnership policies. Yes, there's a company out there, and regardless of whether you're being discouraged from, I mean, the company obviously would like you to purchase their private market partnership policies. If some people are choosing not to because of the financial solvency of the company, that's their own issue. But CalPERS does have a partnership program that's been in place for quite some time. The rates are, relatively speaking, reasonable because PERS runs a pretty good program. However, the benefit levels are relatively high, and this is the issue that we're talking about, and this is what this bill is truly driving at as I read it. The first thing is that by going down to a 3%, we're going to clearly reduce the cost of the policy because your future potential benefit payments are going to be reduced, which lowers the need to put money in today. That's really important because long-term care premiums get very expensive. In addition, right now the range of coverage that a CalPERS long-term care partnership policy has to offer is, as we just mentioned, comprehensive. Mm-hmm. This is going to sub out and take a look at various other policies where you can really just kind of parcel out in-home or nursing home care as well. Mm-hmm. And the reason that I think that this is a great bill, and it's this is why I was asking these questions, because I wanted to make sure because as I said on this dais, you have to understand this is the insurance committee, and a lot of people have come in and they've said, oh, long-term care insurance is broken and the system's terrible. And the answer is no, the system's not terrible. The way that our market is structured in California does not allow the marketplace to experience the full range of options that consumers might want and insurance companies might wish to offer. And so I think if you want to take a look at what's broken in the marketplace, our mechanism for approving policies and the range of policies we can approve in California, that's what's broken. And that's what your bill, as I read it, is designed to fix. And so for that, yeah, I think your bill is great because what we're taking a look at here is really expanding the whole range of partnership policies that are available to consumers in the marketplace. So myself, as a financial advisor in my private practice, when I get in, Mrs. Smith, who's whatever, 65, 75 years old, and says, look, you know what, I don't want to have to rely upon my kids, if I end up in a nursing home, what are my choices? I don't just have to say, well, are you a PERS employee if you want a partnership plan, or here are your other non-partnership policies. We'll be able to look at some more options, which will more, better take care of the hypothetical Mrs. Smith. So with that, I applaud what you're doing, and I look forward to this bill not getting vetoed by the governor and us getting some more options in the marketplace.
Thank you very much. He did my clothes.
Are there any additional questions by committee members? Has there been a motion and second already? Beautiful. And the close has been accomplished. So let's go ahead and vote.
Daly.
Aye.
Daly, aye. Melendez. Melendez, aye. Travis Allen. Aye. Travis Allen, aye. Bigelow. Calderon. Chu. Aye. Chu, aye. Cooley. Cooper. DeBobney. Aye. DeBobney, aye. Dolly. Aye. Dolly, aye. Frazier. Aye. Frazier, aye. Gatto. Aye. Gatto, aye. Rodriguez. Aye. Rodriguez, aye. 9 votes.
9 votes, so the bill has passed this committee.
Thank you very much, members.
Thank you, Senator Liu. And Senator Mendoza, your timing's perfect. We can take two of your bills have already passed on the consent calendar, and now we'll do the 2 that are non-consent.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I appreciate that.
Which one would you like to do first?
Let's start off with SB 1451, if that's okay with you.
Sure. We're on SB 1451, which is item 12 on the agenda. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Members, thank you for allowing me to present SB 1451 to you today. State Compensation Insurance Fund is a critical provider of workers' compensation insurance in California. They provide a critical safety net for California business as both an available market and a competitive market carrier in the marketplace. State Fund not only competes with private market to provide workers' compensation insurance, but also to recruit talent. When recruiting for a management position, the board of directors faces significant challenges in attracting seasoned talent with the industry experience and specialized technical skills that they need. SB 1451 will allow State Fund to attract and retain staff with the industry experience and expertise needed to respond effectively to changing market demands and further accelerate its business transformation efforts. As specified in recent amendments, this bill will provide State Fund Board of Directors the flexibility to appoint up to 40 additional exempt positions without seeking specific legislation for each position, and will terminate the board's authority to appoint additional positions on December 31st of 2021. While we have some opposition from CASE, we feel that their amendments, the suggested amendments, do not work in the way they have been proposed, but we will be working with them in the future committee to see if we can address their issue with other amendments.
All right. Thank you, Senator. Are there persons who'd like to speak, or you have witnesses in support of the bill? Please go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm Vern Steiner, the President and CEO of State Fund. Just by introduction, by statute, State Fund is both a competitive insurance carrier in the workers' compensation market and the safety net for employers who cannot find coverage in the private market. Today, we insure nearly 120,000 California businesses. Our purpose is to provide fairly priced workers' compensation insurance, help make California workplaces safe, and restore injured workers. By statute, State Fund was designed to be a self-supporting, not-for-profit public enterprise. Our revenue is generated solely from premium and investment income. As part of our large-scale business transformation to become a more agile and efficient insurance carrier, State Fund is sponsoring legislation that will give our board of directors the ability to further infuse industry experience and expertise into our senior leadership ranks. In its current form, SB 1451 would grant the State Fund board the authority to create additional exempt positions. We're currently working with stakeholders on amendments to narrow the scope of the legislation. California's contentious workers' compensation market and the employers and injured workers it serves rely on the moderating and stabilizing influence and critical safety net State Fund provides. SB 1451 would further strengthen our organization and ability to support California's economy. We thank you and ask for your aye vote.
Thank you, Mr. Steiner. And is this gentleman one of your witnesses as well? Okay. All right, good. He's mere staff, huh? Okay. Just teasing. Just teasing. Other persons in support of the bill? Are there persons who are opposed to the bill? This would be the time. Welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and members. Brooks Ellison on behalf of CASE, California Attorneys and State Employment. To be real honest, there's been a little tension between State Fund and the union, but we appreciate working with the author to make sure nothing in this bill increases that tension, and we do appreciate that commitment. Thank you.
All right, Mr. Ellison. Any other persons speaking in support? Any other supporters? Because I didn't really make it clear. Okay, any persons clearly opposed to the bill? All right. Well, that's then we'll give you a chance to. Actually, we'll give committee members a chance to ask questions. Any questions by committee members? If not, Senator Mendoza, you're welcome to wrap it up.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Members, I just respectfully ask for your aye vote today. Thank you.
All right. This has a chair's recommendation of an aye vote. Let's go ahead and vote. We need a motion. There's a motion and second. Beautiful. All right. Now we'll vote.
Daly.
Aye.
Daly, aye. Melendez. Melendez, aye. Travis Allen. Travis Allen, aye. Bigelow. Calderon. Chu. Chu, aye. Cooley. Cooper. DeBobne. Dolly. Dolly, aye. Frazier. Frazier, aye. Gatto. Gatto, aye. Rodriguez. Rodriguez, aye.
Got one more. Yeah. 8 votes, so the bill has passed, Senator Mendoza, and you have one more bill to present.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. Members, are presenting SB 1160, an important and reform measure that will improve data collection and medical treatment delivery for California's injured workers. I want to begin by thanking you and your staff, Mr. Chair, by working with us to develop amendments that further refine and improve SB 1160. I know that there are issues that still need to be addressed, but I commit to working with the opponents and any interested stakeholders to make sure that SB 1160 is a fair and strong bill. To add to that, I want to commit again on record that should SB 1160 be voted out of committee today, I will move the bill to the Assembly and active file in order to make sure that we have sufficient time to fully cook the bill. In particular, I look forward to talking with the opponents and other stakeholders on how we can build a process to update the medical guidelines to provide clarity and consistency and medical treatment for injured workers. Additionally, I want to thank Assemblymember and Chair Daley for agreeing to floor jockey this bill should it come up for any amendments or vote on the Assembly floor. I believe that after working with opponents and further improving SB 1160, you will be jockeying a sensible and robust bill that will help all first responders. So what does SB 1160 do? As currently written, SB 1160 does three things. First, SB 1160 increases penalty for employers who refuse to submit data to the Workers' Compensation Information System. The current penalty is $5,000 per year, which is simply not enough to ensure compliance. Without data, we simply lack the information to improve the workers' compensation system and make sure that injured workers receive the treatment that they need. By gradually increasing the penalty structure in line with other states such as Florida and Texas, SB 1160 should make a significant improvement in our ability to gather data and improve the workers' compensation system. Second, SB 1160 reduces barriers to injured workers seeking physical therapy by requiring that the Department of Workers' Compensation to create a guideline for physical therapy for a wide range of workplace injuries. And finally, SB 1160 requires that all utilization review processes are accredited by an independent nonprofit entity. This will ensure that an independent entity can audit a utilization review company or process and make sure that they are making medical decisions for the right reasons and in the right way rather than due to financial incentives. I'd like now to ask Christy Beaumont from the California Professional Firefighters to speak to the challenges firefighters are facing to get appropriate treatment and how SB 1160 addresses those challenges. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Chairman, members, Christy Beaumont on behalf of the California Professional Firefighters. I, too, would like to thank the chairman and his staff for helping us work on this bill. Two important points. My firefighters, under the recent reforms, under SB 863, still are struggling to get the needed and necessary medical treatment to cure and relieve them of their workplace injuries. But one thing became very clear to us, and that is that in SB 863, no one touched utilization review, which is the first level insurer review about whether a request for medical treatment is authorized or sent up to higher levels or disputes in IMR, which was part of SB 863. So for those who want to embrace the reforms that you suffered through and voted on a few years ago, we're not touching those, but we do think that there are more changes that need to be made. And so we are anxious to see this bill move forward and engage with the stakeholders. And if history is any predictor of what happens in the future, we'll see you in off-the-floor hearings late in the night in August as we finalize what this deal would look like. But we are also very, very supportive of the provisions dealing with data, and we have maybe softened the throttle a little bit about what the punishment is, but we have been before this committee repeatedly, and you even heard it earlier today, where both sides of an issue are asking for data. And unfortunately, the third-party administrators that work with public sector employers, they're usually not insured, they're self-funded, they have third-party administrators who are the worst actors, I have to say, in reporting data. So when we come before a committee like this and you ask, what's the data show? How much is this going to cost? And people have to say, we don't know. So the portion of the bill that requires greater penalties for those who do not report is a significant and important issue for us, and we urge your support today.
All right. Other persons speaking in support of the bill?
I think I'm live. Oh, great. Thank you. Chair and members, Lori Kammerer, Small Business California. We are in support of this bill. We know that it is a work in progress. Back in 2011, Small Business California sponsored a bill by Senator Leno that, in fact, established those the penalties on those entities, third-party administrators, self-insured employers who fail to report their data to the Workers' Compensation Information System. This data is very important not only for labor, but it's also very important for employers because we need to know how the benefits are being delivered. Are benefits at the appropriate level? Are they being paid on time, et cetera? So the data is important not just only to employers, but also to labor in future discussions on workers' compensation. This is a work in progress, and we look forward to participating in the discussion. Thank you.
Thank you.
Libby Sanchez on behalf of the Orange County Professional Firefighters Association, Local 3631, Laborers Local 777 and 792. Even though Christy just gave me horrible work comp reform flashbacks, we're in strong support of this measure.
Good. Thank you very much. Any other persons to speak in favor of the bill? Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Members, Mitch Seaman with the California Labor Federation. We're also in support. We would just emphasize the previous point about the data. This is something that's come up numerous times this year, both in other legislation and other discussions, where the inadequacy of the data really does harm our ability to further improve the system. And so we'd urge your support.
Mike Carroll with the California Applicant Attorneys, concurring in the point of the Labor Fed and the firefighters.
Steve Catolica, representing the California Society of Industrial Medicine and Surgery, the California Neurology Society, and the California Society of Physical Medicine and Rehabilitation, in support.
Amy Durbin with the California Medical Association, in support.
Thank you. Any other persons in support? If not, we'll hear from persons who are opposed. Yeah. All right, go ahead.
Mr. Chair, members, Jeremy Merzamath, the California Chamber of Commerce. We are opposed to SB 1160, but we would like to commend the author, his staff, committee staff for the hard work that we've put in and you guys have put in so far on this bill. With the commitments today and with the significant amendments to the bill, is kind of a good faith effort. We are comfortable with the bill moving forward, but certainly want to engage in discussions on the concept utilization review, which this bill covers. It covers all employers and all injured workers. 2 points I'd like to make is on the timeliness. Certainly, we've talked for a few months about entering into discussions. We'd like a chance to do those in a timely manner, not in the last week of session, so we have time to vet, negotiate, discuss, present to the legislature the ideas that would be entering into the bill. So that's number one. And then number two, we start from a posture that there is no fundamental issue with utilization review. The data suggests that 94% of all treatment requests in workers' compensation are approved. It also shows that 80% of those requests are done without any elevated utilization review. And of the times when we do use utilization review and our decisions are appealed, we're making the right decision 90% of the time. So that said, to the extent we can identify with data areas to make the system work better, areas for utilization review to be more efficient, we're willing to enter those discussions. And certainly, I think your bill is a good starting point. With that, unfortunately, some of the concepts we do still oppose at this time. But again, look forward to those discussions. So thank you.
Thank you. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. My name is Jason Schmelzer. I'm here again on behalf of the California Coalition on Workers' Compensation. Obviously, I want to associate myself with everything that the Cal Chamber just expressed, especially the work that was done by the author, his staff, and the chair and his staff. Very helpful, I think, in advancing what could be and what has been in the past a very controversial discussion about how we make the workers' compensation system work better for both employees and employers. To add very briefly to Jeremy's point about not seeing UR as a fundamental problem in the workers' comp system, we need to remember that utilization review is simply the process by which we verify that requested treatment actually meets evidence-based guidelines and is the best possible treatment for an injured worker. We think that's an extraordinarily important facet of the workers' comp system. We need to be very careful in our perspective when when changing those things. So really quickly, appreciate what was removed from the bill. Want to say a few things about what is still in the bill. There was a comment on EDI reporting, the data reporting, that it's significant and important. We absolutely agree. You can't really evaluate the workers' compensation system in all of its complexities without solid data. I would say that simply gathering the data isn't particularly useful. You have to use it for something. So it would be good, when we come before committees and when we're in debates, that the data be given credibility, that it hold weight. Too often, from our perspective, the data is utilized when it's politically acceptable and not when it's not. So if we're going to be paying to do all of this reporting, if we're going to be penalized for what are basically clerical errors, and if we're going to be diverting resources away from the chief operating concern of a claims administrator, which is getting benefits out to injured workers, we want to make sure that that data actually has some weight, because otherwise we're just spending money and paying penalties. The URO certification provision in the bill, we don't have any major problem with. We've talked to staff, appreciate those conversations, but do want to say there could be an undue burden on really small utilization review organizations, so we look forward to figuring out how to kind of relieve that concern. And with that, we are opposed to the bill. We're not urging a no vote today. Look forward to working with the author, the sponsor, and obviously the chair of the committee as we get towards the end of the year. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members. Julianne Broyles here on behalf of the California Association of Joint Powers Authorities. We also have been in detailed conversations with the author, with the consultant on the bill, trying to find a path forward that works for everyone. We have chief issues that still remain for us is the mechanical workings of the process of getting the data. Where the bill is heading now does not have, is using forms of information already collected, but really will not provide the data that we think is necessary to make decisions on UR and how it is applied. We issue an open invitation to the committee, to the consultants, and to the members to visit any of our claims operations and see how they work, so you can see the mechanics of why something is or isn't necessary to change. We are in the same position as the Cal Chamber and CCWC in terms of happy to see the bill move forward with all of the commitments that were made today, but do want to be part of those remaining negotiations on the bill.
All right, thank you very much. Are there other persons who'd like to speak in opposition to the bill or whatever this position was, which was...
Mark Clement with ACIC, strongly supporting whatever that position is. As we begin the discussion on utilization review, this is something that the chair and the author are very aware of, but the Department of Industrial Relations, along with the California Department of Insurance and the Division of Workers' Comp, have set up a fraud working group. One of the things that Christine Baker presented on Monday to the insurer group was that the vast majority of fraud and the vast majority of lien abusers in the system are outside of the MPNs and therefore are not subject to UR. So we need to be careful.
All right, we're going to limit this this commentary to either a yes or a no, either oppose or...
Catherine Pettibone,
brief.
American Insurance Association, associate our comments.
Good, thank you. Thank you.
Faith Conley with the California State Association of Counties. I just want to echo the comments made by CCWC and the Cal Chamber.
Thank you.
Dane Hudgins with League of California Cities, echo the comments of the Chamber.
Amber King with the Association of California Healthcare Districts and the Alpha Fund also associate our comments with CCWC and the Cal Chamber.
All right, thank you. This item has a chair's recommendation of support. Clearly, there is a long list of persons who are either strongly opposed or mildly opposed and have lots of concerns. There's a lot of work to be done on the subject. I've agreed, as Senator Mendoza mentioned, to work the bill on the Assembly floor if and when we get to that point. But clearly a lot of work to be done and a lot of facts that still need to be gathered. Committee members, questions or comments? Mr. Dolly.
So what's the urgency? Why do we have to work this bill? Why can't we come back next year with all your concerns vetted out and run it through this committee in a fashion where we're not going to be, as we see so many times on the last night or the last week of session, just trying to figure out what the heck really happened behind the scenes?
I think we're close. I think we've been working on this for months. We're getting to a good spot. We're going to find out a few more details and see if we can move forward. And if we don't work out those details, it won't go any further. But I think we're good. We're close. We haven't been close like this in a long time. So I feel confident about it. But I've assured the opposition that if we don't get to the spot, we'll bring it back next year and we'll continue working on the off season. But we're in a good spot right now.
Just a follow-up question: who gets injured if this bill doesn't go forward and we wait another year? What is the? I mean, I read the analysis. 94% of them claims are paid, and I don't see that somebody's really going to get injured in the time that we wait to vet the bill and do what we should do is put out good policy through these committees.
I think the firefighters have brought some significant issues forward in regards to if we wait any longer, they've dealt with a lot of UR issues. So, but I'm sure there's other cases out there that we can address. But again, we're just moving the bill forward like most bills do, and we'll continue to work with the opposition. If it doesn't get anywhere, believe me, we're not going to move it forward at all. We're going to go in a spot where we're going to all be happy. We're not going to move it anywhere else.
Vice Chair Melendez has a question.
Thank you. I just am curious because you have increased the penalty quite substantially. So you are saying that the current penalty scheme is insufficient?
Yes.
And can you tell me what data you have to support that, or explain your position?
Well, $5,000 a year is a small penalty, so some of the folks rather just pay the penalty and not even worry about the data. When you compare that to other states that have really good workers' compensation systems like Texas and Florida, their penalties in Texas, for example, their penalty is $25,000 a day until you turn it in. $25,000 a day, and we're at $5,000 a year. So believe me, they turn in their data, and we get the information. That's why they have really good systems in Texas and Florida, because the data's turned in and they begin to see what's wrong and they fix it. But in California, we don't.
Oh, okay. So I understand the correlation that you're trying to make, but in California, where we have already heard testimony where they said that 94% of these claims are put forward, what I'm trying to understand is why, if that is happening, you think that the fee should be doubled if, in fact, these claims are already moving forward.
Well, yeah. Well, he could clarify as far as the difference between what you're talking about is the medical care component as far as 80% or 90% being approved. We're talking about the data collected, which is different. And again, if we're talking about that, and they'll agree to this, that 10% or that 5% was driving up all the costs. If we get our hands around data and what's going on, it would really be beneficial to us to curtail that high expense, that small percentage that's really driving up all the costs. The data is very important for us to get. But, I mean, if you compare it to other systems, we are way behind.
Mr. Cooley has a question.
Well, Mr. Chair, more of a comment is my want. I apologize. I just want to say I'm very, very happy this bill has been brought forward. And to respond to the very good query from my colleague from Bieber, in a sense, I sort of feel that who gets hurt if we don't have this conversation is us. You know, the workers' comp system is a legacy of Hiram Johnson. 100 years before the year we were elected is when the workers' comp system got instituted. It is devilishly complicated, and yet it's one that is vitally important to our economy. And so as we sit on this committee, we have the responsibility to kind of own this system and think about how to improve its performance for the workers, but for all concerned. I want to acknowledge that in this room at this moment, we have sort of the A-team of workers' comp. To the senator's left is Gideon Baum, longtime expert in this field for the state Senate. We have our own staff who are very experienced in this area. So I sort of see, I also note the bill includes talks about, or there's discussion in the analysis of the role of the Rand Institute, which is in Mr. Bloom's area, has often, going back decades, when I was chief counsel of the F&I in the old days in the 80s, the Rand Institute was doing research to support the workers' comp system as they continue to do. The data element is vital if we are to understand kind of what's going on. Data is how we start to piece together a picture of how the whole system's working. So if there's areas where there's blanks in the data, that is a problem. And it undermines our ability to make sound judgments on policy. So I appreciate the author's explanation. He's going to move the bill forward and park it there while discussions continue. I appreciate the stance of persons who are viewing it sort of with concern, but that is typical of these conversations, to have people really examine the details and in public and privately trying to hash out how they think these things will work out. So I just want to say, I think, I feel we only have 12 years. We're in year 4. We got 8 years left. If there's going to be progress in the workers' comp system during our watch, it's great to get that conversation moving, and we've got outstanding people helping us. So I'm excited to move the bill. Thank you for bringing it forward.
All right. There's a motion and second on this bill. I'm going to ask the committee and Senator Mendoza's indulgence. We have some folks that need to leave right now and cannot come back, so we're going to do the add-on votes right now. We're going to add on first on the consent calendar. So anyone who missed the consent calendar, we're just taking a little time out on this hearing. Consent calendar add-ons.
Bigelow? Bigelow, aye. Calderon? Aye. Calderon, aye. Cooley? Aye. Cooley, aye. DeBobney? DeBobney, aye.
And then there are 3 other bills that were not consent calendar. Let's do the Senator Liu bill, SB 1091. Add on, please. Item 6. I'm sorry. I have the wrong Liu bill. Item 11, SB 1384. Item 11.
Bigelow? Bigelow, no. Calderon? Aye. Calderon, aye. Cooley? Aye. Cooley, aye. Cooper? Aye. Cooper, aye.
That's it. And then there's the Senator Roth bill, item 3, SB 897.
Bigelow? No. Bigelow, no. Calderon? Aye. Calderon, aye. DeBobney? Aye. DeBobney, aye.
Great. And there's the Mendoza bill, item 12, SB 1451.
Bigelow? Yes. Bigelow, aye. Calderon? Aye. Calderon, aye. Cooley? Aye. Cooley, aye. DeBobney? Aye. DeBobney, aye. Sorry, Cooper? Aye. Cooper, aye.
Thank you again. This is a special circumstance, so we've done all the add-ons that we can do so far, and we're back to you, Senator Mendoza, for a wrap-up.
Mr. Chair, thank you for your patience. Thanks to the committee for all the great questions. And if we don't have a good product by the end of the next couple of weeks or whatever, you'll hear from the opposition. We won't be moving this bill forward. So look forward to working with all of you. And Mr. Chair, thank you.
Let's hope we can avoid the last week in August off the floor craziness. Senator Mendoza didn't predict that. So we'll try to keep things sane. Was there a motion and second on this bill? We need a motion and a second. There we go. Mr. Cooley and Mr. Chu. Mr. Cooley moved. Mr. Chu seconds. Roll call vote, please.
Daly?
Aye.
Daly, aye. Melendez? No. Melendez, no. Travis Allen? No. Travis Allen, no. Bigelow? No. Bigelow, no. Calderon? Chu? Aye. Chu, aye. Cooley? Aye. Cooley, aye. Cooper? Aye. Cooper, aye. DeBobney? DeBobney, aye. Dolly? No. Dolly, no. Frazier?
Yes.
Frazier, yes. Gatto? Aye. Gatto, aye. Rodriguez?
Aye.
Rodriguez, aye.
The vote was 8-4 in favor of the bill. Thank you, Senator Mendoza.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, members.
And I think we can close it, right? Yeah. The meeting's adjourned. Thank you very much.